Have you ever grouped data in Power Query and wondered why you ended up with a column full of the word table? Well, maybe you clicked on one of those tables and wondered what they were for. So today I'm going to show you one of the most useful Power Query techniques you'll ever learn. We'll build a report that counts the number of unique products each sales manager for each year. But most importantly, you'll finally understand what the mysterious all rows operation is doing behind the scenes and how three simple Power Query M functions work together to solve this problem. So this is the data right here. And if we click over here, this is going to be what we wind up with. A small little report that counts the unique number of products by sales manager and year. So there are several ways to solve this problem in Excel and Power Query. Today we're going to focus on one technique that is flexible, easy to understand, and can be adapted to many other business problems. So here's the question we'll be answering. How many different products did each sales manager sell each year? So now let's go over here. Let's load this data into Power Query. It's already formatted as an Excel table, as you can see by table, and I named it sales data. So we could do a right click, get data from table or range, and as Power Query opens, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna verify, make sure this column is a date data type. So right now it's date time. So let's first go on here, click date, replace current. Now it's just a date data type. So now let's add, or let's transform this column to be a year only. So let's extract the year from this date here. Now there's a couple ways you could do this. You could transform it in place, transform date, year, and year. And what that's going to do is it's going to replace this column with just the year. Or what we can do is add a column that will be just year alone. So let's go to add column, come over here to the far right, date, year, and then year. So what it does, it extracts the year from that date itself. Now we're going to group our data by sales manager and by year. And that means every sales transaction needs to have a year associated with it. So that's why we did this. So now let's go to Home, Group By, and we're going to click on Advanced, and we're going to group by sales manager and by year. So it's first by sales manager and then add grouping by year. Okay, now we're going to do this. It's going to be number. And then this is what we're talking about. We're going to select all rows, and you'll see in a second what that is. Well, we do this, click OK, And as you can see, each row now has this table right here. And we'll explain that in a second. So at first glance, this result looks a little bit strange. But instead of getting numbers, we have a column that simply says table. This is one of the most misunderstood features in Power Query. So what is the all rows column? So let's see here. Let's just click on the word table. And what that does, it's going to drill down on that particular row, and it's going to return Power Query didn't summarize Ethan Miller's sales. Instead, it created a brand new table, containing every single transaction for Ethan Miller in the year 2023. Okay, as you can see here. So that's what that did. Now let's return back to the main query. I'm going to click out of here. This is the main query right here. Okay. Now, as you can see, scroll back up here. You can see that every single sales manager has one of these. Now, each table, contains only the records for the sales manager and for the year. So in other words, this table right here is just only going to include all the transactions that were made by Diana Brooks for the year 2024. So now our next step is add a custom column. So let's go to add column, custom column, and let's go over here. Call this number of products. And then I'm going to paste in a formula. And then you're going to see exactly what this means in a second. Okay, and I'll explain this code in a second. Let's click OK. In just a minute. That formula now produced this. So basically, it took that small little table, it took all the unique products within that particular table and came back with this number. So let's look at the formula a little bit more closely. Let's click on this gear icon and let's look at this, and let's work on our the inside out. So what does all rows represent right here? All rows. Now this references the nested table stored in the current row. In other words, this all rows references this table for this current row here. Now, what does all rows and then product ID? So let's go back over here. Let's click over here. So it's referencing this little table here, and then it extracts the product ID. So that's what that does here. So let's go back here. Okay. So it extracts the product ID only. So it takes all rows of this table here for each individual rows. Then it extracts the product ID. Now we got one column with just number of product IDs. So, okay, now let's look at what List.Distinct does. So what this does then, it takes all those product IDs, it gets the distinct, product IDs out of this list right here. Okay. Then finally, what that does then, after it gets to distinct, then it's going to do a list.count. So counts the number of distinct product IDs from there. So that's what that does right here. So that's the number written into the number of products column. Now, if you're coming from Excel, this logic may already be familiar. The Power Query functions closely mirror common Excel data array functions. So now let's go back to Excel. Okay, we're going to load this. First of all, now we could get rid of this column right here. Let's remove this. Okay, now let's go back to Home, Close and Load, and it's going to create a new query and a new tab over here. So this is the final report that we got right here. Okay, now let's figure this out, okay, in Excel. Okay, in Power Query, the all rows table already contains only the records for the current sales manager and year. And when we've referenced the all rows and then product ID, we're effectively retrieving the product IDs from that filtered set. Okay, so now let's do this. Okay, so now we're going to do a side-by-side comparison right here. So this all rows product ID, okay, refers to filter function in Excel. The List.Distinct, okay, function in Power Query refers now to the unique function, and List.Count refers to the rows column. Okay, so now let's go back to Excel. Before we trust this report here, it's a good practice to verify your results. Now let's go back into the sales table right here. Let's go back over here. And we could verify what's happening over here with these Excel formulas. Okay, now let's go over here. Okay, let's go over here and let's build this function step by step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an equal sign here. I'm going to type in filter, tab into that. What are we filtering? Okay, we're going to be filtering the product ID. Okay, and then what are we going to include? Well, we're going to include two conditions. Okay, and the condition is, and we're going to hard code something here. And we're going to do, let's see, sales manager. Sales manager is going to equal to, we're just going to verify Ethan, E-T-H-A-N, M-I-L-L-E-R. And we're going to close that out. Okay, and then we're going to multiply this by our next condition because we want an and condition here. So we're going to go to year. We're going to do a table order date. Let's see. let's do this, is going to equal to 2023. But we need to extract the year out of this. Okay, and then let's do this. And then let's see, we're going to close out the filter function and press enter. Okay, we get a number of product IDs. So let's control shift down arrow. And as you can see, the count is 103. Now that doesn't correspond to 74 over here. Okay. And that's because we haven't done the distinct and the count rows. So now what we want to do is we want to come over here and we're going to do a unique. Okay, let's go over here. Let's close out that, press control. Okay, now we got 74 right down here in the bottom right over here. So now let's count this. Now we could use the rows function. Let's see. And now we got 74. So we got the same data over here. And that's how you can verify your results of what Power Query returns back over here. So now let's summarize what we did. We added a year column, okay, which is this. We grouped our data by sales manager, okay, and by year, okay, for all, using the all rows feature when we group it by in Power Query. We understand that each row now contains a nested table. We extracted the product column from that nested table. We then removed the duplicates using List.Distinct, and then we counted the remaining values with List.Count. And then we verified the results in Excel using filters and using the dynamic arrays that we see here, which is filter, unique, and then rows. So if you found this tutorial helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Power Query tutorials that focus on understanding the concepts, not just memorizing the steps. And if there's a Power Query problem you'd like to see solved, leave it in the comments, and then it will become the next tutorial on the channel. I want to thank you again for stopping by today. You have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next video.